Agassi and Todd Martin going head-to-head in our coverage tomorrow, Thursday, on TNT from the All England Club. Let's check in once again in Orlando with Bob Lorenz. Bob, so what's we've seen a couple of picks here. This last one for LA, apparently. What are you hearing?
Well, don't be surprised, too, if now the Orlando Magic move the number 13 pick. And you might wonder, well, they had 3 lottery picks. Why do they want to move them on? If they make this trade for number 13 with what we're hearing to Dallas Mavericks for a conditional first-rounder, for a second-rounder this year, which we picked number 31, and for cash, what that would then do is give the Orlando Magic 8 future first-round draft picks over the next 4 years. It will also, as we know, free up cap space. So do they need the young guys in the guaranteed contracts? No, not really. So it appears more and more likely, why not keep Mike Miller for the draw as a Gator and as a shooter, and bank those draft picks for the future and free up a little extra cap room to sign those big-name free agents, Ernie.
Good thinking. Thank you very much, Bob Lorenz. And so they are up, or actually they've had 2 picks. The Boston Celtics are up next. It was another frustrating season for Rick Pitino's guys, and early in March, some of that sort of exploded because Rick Pitino was unhappy that the Boston fans were living in the past.
Larry Bird's not walking through that door, fans. Kevin McHale's not walking through that door, and Robert Parrish is not walking through that door. And if you expect them to walk through the door, they're going to be gray and old. What we are is young, exciting, hardworking, and going to improve.
And what they also are is in the midst of a 7-year losing streak, 7 straight losing seasons, and 4-13 in games decided by 3 points or less last year. If you're Rick Pitino and the Celtics, what are you thinking on draft night?
Well, if you look at the Celtics team over last year, they have a lot of offensive power. I don't think they have role players that can come in, rebound, do a lot of the dirty work. They have a lot of guys who are skilled. Kenny Anderson, Antoine Walker, skilled players, Paul Pierce, but they need the dirty work kind of guy, somebody who's going to come in there and just bang noses.
Well, I think the main question mark up there is the people thought that there would be a better defensive presence, that the defense would improve itself to force turnovers, get out in the open floor, and with the type of talent that they have there, that there'd be more easy baskets scored. Well, unfortunately, that has not happened. They're a little bit soft defensively, so it will be interesting to see how they go with this pick.
They have always had, or there's been trouble in the middle with centers on that team, not a dominant force in there.
Yeah, that's that presence that Hubie's talking about, and myself, that they don't have a guy who you can consistently say, okay, we don't need to come down and help you on a double team. You can play your man by yourself, and then everyone else can probably fall in line. You always have to rely on double teams, and then you get burned from the outside, and guys are offensive rebounding on you.
You understand where Rick Pitino's coming from, Hubie, with the frustration level on at this point?
Well, I think that, you thought that they were going to turn it around quickly, and they brought in a lot of players to play that style of pressing and trapping. But it all starts with your pressure with your point guards. Can your point guards dictate the full court trap and then get you into traps behind as the ball is advanced?
The commissioner is ready with the pick of the Boston Celtics.
I have a trade to announce. The Chicago Bulls have traded the rights to Chris Mim to Cleveland for the rights to Jamal Crawford plus cash. With the 11th pick in the 2000 NBA draft, the Boston Celtics select Jerome Moiso, who played at UCLA and was born in Guadeloupe, West Indies.
And so Jerome Moiso, and you heard the commissioner refer to his time spent at UCLA, was in Paris, was in the West Indies, started playing the game when he was 6 years old. Visited the United States in '97, played in Orlando at the Summit, the Nike Summit down there. And coming out after his sophomore year, Rick, what do you like about him?
Great athlete, one of the best athletes in the draft and extraordinarily long. He has to play through a bump, though. He doesn't finish on a hit. He's got to bring more defensive intensity to the floor. do a better job of coming to block shots. He is a shot blocker and potentially as good a shot blocker as Theo Ratliff or anyone in the NBA. He's a lefty. I think he can run the floor better than anyone perhaps in this draft. He's incredibly skilled relative to his hands. He's got good hands. He catches in traffic, and his ball skills are good. He's going to have to work his way into a 4 spot because he won't be able to play a 3.
See, with Fortson a free agent behind Antoine Walker, this is a guy at his size with the long arms who's an outstanding offensive rebounder. With the left-handed presence, he can put the ball down on the floor. In all of the workouts, this guy is getting high grades every place that he has been because he can even give you a little backup as he develops, even as a backup 5. If you are pressing and trapping down the floor. He's an interesting talent.
And with his Parisian upbringing, he speaks fluent French. In fact, yesterday, in a media availability, he was at a table with a guy from L'Equipe magazine discussing the NBA draft. I don't know if they were talking about Les Celtics or not. How about it, Craig?
Well, Ernie, you mentioned that he started playing basketball at the age of 6, but he told me he quit at the age of 9. What didn't you like about the sport?
I don't know, I was just relaxed, from the island, like in the sun and the beach, so I just wanted to chill, and I got back at it at 13, and that was it. I was back in full strength.
Grew up in the West Indies, you represented France in a few tournaments, now you go to the tradition of the Celtics. What does that mean to you, and what does this mean for the people back in the West Indies?
Well, I guess, it's a first for the guys in the West Indies in Guadeloupe, having me in there, that's a great thing for my island. And going to Boston, it's a great tradition of winning, and after UCLA, nothing can be better than that.
All right, we're with your college coach, Steve Lavin from UCLA. Now, the Celtics need a lot. They need defense. What can this guy do for this team?
Well, Jerome at both ends of the floor is extremely talented, extremely gifted, so he'll give you a presence at both ends of the floor in the paint. And I really think in terms of skilled players in this draft for his size, he's probably the top. And in terms of my career, he's probably the most gifted player for his size that I've ever coached.
You do a good job for the Celtics then.
No question, and he's used to playing underneath the banners, 11 championship banners UCLA, and now all the banners in Boston, so he's used to that.
All right, congratulations. Let's go back to Ernie.
All right, thank you, Craig. Let's talk about the trade that went down. John Thompson, this Jamal Crawford situation, Chris Mim, Chicago dealing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Makes sense to you?
Well, I definitely think it makes sense, and that was the thing that I was saying earlier about the fact that Jerry trying to formulate a team. I think a lot of people right now are getting people not only so that they can use them, but so that they can manipulate a little bit to try to help to improve the team.
All right, we are at this point going to bid adieu to Charles Barkley, who was kind enough to join us while on his trip to Nashville. And Charles, I trust that you'll be watching the remaining 3 hours or so there in Nashville.
One thing I noticed, I'll watch a little bit more, Ernie. 2 things I noticed. Number one, they dress a lot better today than they did when I came out.
Obviously.
And number 2, a lot of these colleges don't have weight rooms. But these are
Hey, Charles, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Hit them straight up there in Nashville, okay?
Hey, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. We'll see you next season. We'll be back with more of the NBA Draft 2000 from the Target Center in Minneapolis in a minute.